She sold over 100 million albums, rewritten the rules of crossover country pop, and built a global empire on the strength of anthems like Man, I Feel Like a Woman, and That Don't Impress Me Much. But for years, whispers have haunted every fan forum and social feed. Was Shania Twain preparing to bow out of the spotlight for good? Today, at age 60, she finally broke her silence, confirming that this summer's concert run will be her last. No more arena tours, no more festival headlining slots, and no more stadium lights beneath her trademark red hair. Tonight, we unpack what led to this watershed moment. The physical battles, the personal crossroads, and the musical legacy that made her decision both inevitable and heartbreaking. It started in early 2023 when Shania hinted at something major on the horizon. Rumors lit up like wildfire on Twitter and TikTok. Was she releasing long-lost tracks? Reuniting with producer Robert John Mutt Lang? Or was she planning a farewell tour? Fans clung to every clipped interview, every cryptic Instagram story, speculating on cryptograms hidden in neon backdrops or subtle nods in her Las Vegas residency. Then came the rumble of medical setbacks, chronic vocal strain, nerve damage in her neck, and a relentless cycle of treatments that kept her offstage for months. Speculation turned into near certainty. This unstoppable force of nature might finally have met her match. Last night, in a candid live stream from her Nashville home, surrounded by platinum records and family photos, Shania looked directly into the camera. Dressed casually in jeans and a faded Wrangler jacket, she spoke with the same frank warmth that turned her televised interviews into must-watch events. "I've been teasing something big," she began, voice gentle but firm. "I've always lived life on tour buses and airport runways. But my body and my heart are telling me it's time to step back. This summer's shows? They're it. The last, my grand finale." She paused as comments flashed by in real time. No way. She can't stop singing. We're not ready. Yet she held her ground, offering gratitude for decades of devotion and explaining that this choice was about honoring her fans and herself. Why now? To understand, we need to rewind over 4 decades of meteoric rise. Born Eileen Regina Edwards in 1965, she grew up in Timmins, Ontario, the daughter of a logging contractor and a school cook. From Nickelodeon fiddles to open mic bars, she lent her formidable pipes to every stage she could find, working odd jobs, sleeping in cramped apartments, and sending demo tapes wherever the postal service would carry them. Her breakthrough arrived in 1995 with The Woman in Me, an album that sold 12 million copies in the US alone and shifted the tectonic plates of popular music. Suddenly, a pop-polished Canadian was holding rings around Nashville's old guard, pairing steel guitars with stadium-ready hooks and rewriting the dictionary on what a country artist could be. Her ascent wasn't without cost. Behind the sequins and script-perfect performances lurked a voice under siege. Years of belting high notes night after night set off a cascade of vocal nodules, forcing surgery in 2004 and a year on the sidelines. The world watched as Shania fought to reclaim her singing life, sliding into rehabilitation, studying vocal cord therapies, and retraining her range from scratch. In candid interviews, she described tears shed in empty concert halls and agonizing weeks spent whispering instead of singing. Yet she returned stronger than ever, launching a glittering comeback that included sold-out runs in Vegas and a chart-topping memoir recalling the ordeal. Fans assumed that after such triumphs, she might settle into a comfortable semi-retirement. But she pressed on, touring relentlessly, releasing 2 more studio albums, and even curating her own wine label. Every project carried her signature blend of bravado and vulnerability. Red leather bodysuits that said, "I own this stage." Ballads like "From This Moment On" that said, "I give my heart to you." And all the while, the rumors grew louder. Ticket resale sites glutted with last-chance ads. Fan clubs debated whether to hold farewell-themed listening parties. Influencers posted side-by-side videos of teenage Shania with silver-haired Shania, asking, will she ever sing this live again? And through it all, her team remained tight-lipped. Now, with her confirmation, the speculation ends and the countdown begins. This summer's One More Time tour will crisscross North America, touching down in cities that helped define her journey: Toronto, Nashville, Las Vegas, and beyond. Setlists promise every era. 90s hits dipped in pop sheen. Aughts anthems slick with electronic flourishes, and stripped-back moments showcasing the gravel dash and gold texture of her voice. Behind the scenes, production meetings are said to be weaving a narrative arc, from a rosy-tinted beginning, through the high-octane apex of superstardom, to a poignant, confessional finale, where Shania stands alone at a piano, perhaps echoing the lonely stretch of highway she's traveled. Emotion is already at fever pitch. On social media, tributes flood in from fellow artists. Dolly Parton saluted her courage and heart. Beyoncé labeled her an icon who inspired so many. And Carrie Underwood admitted she planned to attend every stop in her hometown province. Fans are organizing flash mob karaoke of Love Gets Me Every Time, posting videos of their first Shania concert scars, and swapping memories of the first time they heard You're Still the One on their car radios. Even seasoned music critics brace for a communal sense of loss, while recognizing that this final chapter offers a chance to celebrate a career that reshaped the cultural landscape. So tonight, we've set the stage for one last curtain call. In the sections to come, we'll go deeper, exploring the health struggles that precipitated this farewell, the personal reckoning behind her decision, and what it means for the future of one of music's most tenacious performers. Because whether you've been a fan since vinyl days or discovered her through streaming playlists, Shania Twain's exit from touring marks not just the end of an era, but a defining moment in pop country history. Her vocal cords had carried her to the top of the charts, but they almost cost her everything. In 2004, at the peak of her Up tour, Shania noticed a rasp creeping into her high notes, an uninvited hitch in her powerhouse voice. Initially, she chalked it up to fatigue, long flights between arenas, late-night rehearsals, and relentless demands to sound larger than life. But as the rasp turned to hoarseness, she faced a frightening truth: vocal nodules, benign growths caused by constant strain. For a singer whose brand was built on crystal-clear belts and shimmering vibrato, this diagnosis was a career emergency. She retreated from the spotlight, canceling shows and disappearing into the Nashville medical circuit. In specialist consultations, she learned that nodules would not heal on their own. They required surgical removal followed by weeks of silence. Surgeons warned her that any misstep could leave permanent damage. Yet Shania, ever the warrior, agreed to the procedure without hesitation, knowing that each scalpel stroke brought her closer to rescue but risked leaving her silenced forever. Friends recall her steely resolve outside the operating room. She scribbled lyrics on note cards, ready to relearn her catalog, should her memory prove more reliable than her voice. The surgery was a success, but recovery was brutal. For 6 weeks, she abided by the silent protocol, speaking only in whispered notes to her children and communicating via a whiteboard scrawled with heart symbols and exclamation marks. Her days felt empty without music, no vocal warm-ups, no microphone, no cha-cha-chas to punctuate her pop country fusion. The silence echoed like a vacuum, yet she committed to it with fierce discipline. Her vocal coach guided her through the slow reintroduction of sound, first gentle hums, then scales and soothing lower registers, then finally the long-held notes that made her a legend. Each milestone, from a trembling la to a sustained do, felt like a resurrection. During this process, Shania confronted another hidden battle: Lyme disease. In between therapy sessions, she experienced inexplicable exhaustion and joint pain that no doctor could immediately diagnose. Months passed before a specialist traced her symptoms to a tick bite she didn't remember. Lyme's neurological impact threatened her coordination and energy, two essentials for choreography and stage presence. Treatment involved rounds of antibiotics and alternative therapies, including acupuncture and specialized nutrition plans. She chronicled her regimen in a private journal: green smoothies at dawn, for infusions midday, vocal rest by sunset. The regimen became a lifeline, yet it also laid bare her vulnerability. Even icons could break down under nature's unseen assaults. As her body healed, Shania faced a crossroads in her personal life. Her marriage to producer Robert "Mutt" Lang, the architect behind her signature sound, had ended in 2008 under a cloud of infidelity rumors. The split shook her confidence, not just as a star, but as a woman who had merged her career and heart with the man who shaped her music. She poured her emotions into the follow-up album, Up, its upbeat tracks juxtaposing the turbulence in her private life. Fans assumed the album's glittering optimism was authentic, unaware of the late-night writing sessions where she confronted betrayal and heartbreak in lyric after lyric, only to mask tears with steel and rhinestones in the studio. In the years that followed, she rebuilt her voice and her spirit in parallel. Vocal therapy sessions included not just scales, but mind-body techniques. Breathwork borrowed from yoga, vocal visualization exercises more akin to sports psychology than music rehearsal. She practiced inner listening, a method taught by a specialist who measured her vocal impedance electronically, teaching Shania to sense subtle changes in chord vibration long before they manifested as hoarseness. This heightened awareness became her secret weapon, an intuitive barometer telling her when to push and when to rest. On stage, she began to adjust her set list, sprinkling acoustic interludes between high-energy anthems to give her voice micro breaks, and audiences loved the change of pace, praising the intimate moments as revelations of raw artistry. Yet every triumph came with whispers. In online fan forums, commentators dissected her performances. Was that slight breathiness a stylistic choice or a warning sign of relapse? Bootleg recordings circulated with slow-motion rewinds, inviting amateur diagnosis of nodules returning or nerve issues resurfacing. Shania's management responded with tightly controlled video clips released through official channels, short, pristine bursts of her strongest vocals, to reassure fans. Behind the scenes, they coordinated with her medical team to monitor her vocal cord health via periodic laryngoscopic exams, a process made possible only because she insisted on covering those costs out of pocket rather than relying on standard tour budgets. This commitment to self-care remained unsung. While viewers saw polished performances, only Shania and her inner circle knew the precise protocols that preserved her voice night after night. As her body and heart healed, she embraced studio work over touring, collaborating with artists across genres, but demanding strict vocal rest clauses in contracts. Breaks between sessions, weighted cooldowns after tracks, and a room set aside purely for voice therapy. She recorded songs in short bursts, layering harmonies over several weeks rather than marathon sessions. This approach resulted in albums praised for their clarity and nuance, even as she played fewer live shows. Fans speculated that Shania was retiring from tours, and every canceled date fueled the rumor mill. People shared testimonials online. Saw her last Vegas show in 2015. What if that was the final one? Such posts swirled until last night's live stream confirmed what many suspected. The curtain was finally falling on her stadium run. Tonight's announcement set off emotional ripples far beyond the arena walls. As Shania steps into her final chapter on the road, she's meticulously shaping not just a tour, but a farewell narrative that honors her journey and invites fans to bid goodbye together. Stage designers are collaborating with her longtime creative director to construct a multi-act show resembling a three-part memoir. Act 1 transports the audience into her small-town beginnings, with projections of snowy Ontario landscapes and a lone spotlight on acoustic renditions of early demos. Act 2 explodes with her crossover triumphs, featuring a carnival of lasers, pyrotechnics, and video montages of packed stadiums singing in unison. And Act 3 strips back all theatrics for an intimate, candlelit segment where Shania shares stories behind her songs, an emotional confession set to piano or steel guitar, culminating in her most personal anthem, Forever and for Always. Behind the scenes, her family plays a central role in this design. Her son Aja, now a teenager, contributed drawings for the tour's visual motifs, rustic silhouettes of mountains and logs, nodding to her rugged Canadian roots. He'll join her on stage during the acoustic set, accompanying on the cello parts he taught himself to play after first watching her live in concert as a child. Her stepchildren, whom she and current husband Frederick Thibault have mentored since their marriage in 2011, will handle meet-and-greet duties, greeting fans on select dates to create a family atmosphere rather than a soulless VIP line. This integration of loved ones underscores the reason driving her decision: a yearning to reclaim precious moments at home after decades spent under tour schedules that kept her away through birthdays, anniversaries, and holidays. Musicians and crew share the bittersweet sentiment. Her long-serving guitarist and musical director, Darren Savard, prepared special arrangements that accommodate her current vocal range, tuning keys down by a half step to ease strain, while allowing her signature high harmonies in select moments. Drummer Jamie McMahon has programmed gentler tempos and incorporated intermittent breaks to let Shania rest behind scenic set pieces. Touring nurses and on-call vocal therapists will accompany each show, administering steam inhalations, saline sprays, and guided vocal exercises in quick backstage sessions during costume changes. This meticulously choreographed care plan, never before so publicly detailed, reflects Shania's commitment to ending on her terms, delivering joy to fans without jeopardizing her health. Promotion for One More Time has been equally strategic. Rather than a traditional media blitz, Shania opted for an unfiltered video bookend on social platforms, featuring home movie footage of her childhood choir performances, studio shenanigans with Mutt Lange, and candid family moments. Then cutting sharply to her preparing for tour rehearsals at 55, surrounded by pro dancers and backup vocalists. The contrast stops viewers in their tracks, reminding them how far she's come and why this moment matters. Ticketing partners have woven charitable elements into purchases. A portion of each ticket sale feeds music therapy programs at hospitals and senior centers, echoing Shania's own experiences using song to heal through her Lyme treatments and vocal recovery. On fan message boards, anticipation mixes with wistful nostalgia. Threads titled, "Thank You, Shania," overflow with personal stories. A newlywed couple planning to dance to From This Moment On. Cancer survivors describing how You're Still the One gave them hope, and young fans discovering her repertoire months ago and already craving a live encounter. Merchandising items reflect this sentimentality. Special edition vinyl box sets include a Q&A booklet penned by Shania herself, and a commemorative tour program replicates the diary entries she kept during her vocal rehab. Each piece of memorabilia feels handcrafted to acknowledge shared memories and mark an era's end. Critics expect One More Time to be more than a concert run. They frame it as a cultural milestone that bookends an era of genre-bending female empowerment. Analysts note that at 60, Shania defies industry norms around age and relevance, proving that stadium-caliber artistry need not be limited by birth year. Her peers, artists from Taylor Swift to Carrie Underwood, are watching closely, wondering if this farewell tour signals a broader shift toward more mindful career arcs where longevity and health claim precedence over relentless output. As June approaches, Shania reflects on the tour's emotional weight. In interviews with her inner circle, she's expressed both excitement and apprehension. A thrill to feel that rush of pre-show adrenaline for one last time, and a poignant ache at realizing there will be no encore beyond this curtain call. She's written letters to herself, revisiting dreams she had as a child, singing around campfires in Canada, and acknowledging how those early aspirations guided her path. She's told Confidants that while she's saying goodbye to life on the road, she's not retiring from music entirely. Songwriting, studio collaborations, and intimate residencies feel like natural evolutions that allow her artistry to flourish without the physical demands of touring. This blend of past, present, and future crystallizes her legacy. A woman who transformed personal struggles, daughter of a single mother, voice under siege, Lyme survivor, into anthems that resonated worldwide. One More Time invites audiences not just to listen, but to participate in a collective reckoning, honoring the highs and lows that shaped her sound and celebrating a career built on authenticity. In the next section, we'll explore the broader cultural impact of Shania's departure from touring, how her philanthropic commitments will evolve post-tour, and what her stepping back means for the next generation of artists charting their own paths between ambition and self-care. In the wake of her announcement, Shania Twain's cultural impact has taken on new dimensions. As a 60-year-old superstar choosing her own finale, she has reframed the narrative around age and artistic relevance, inspiring fans and peers alike. Across social media, conversations about career longevity have multiplied. Seasoned artists celebrate their influence, while rising acts chart sustainable trajectories. Shania's decision is now a fixture in academic discourse on gender and generational equity, cited in case studies examining how veteran performers can pivot gracefully. From Nashville honky-tonks to Tokyo jazz lounges, DJs salute her legacy each night, mixing classic hits with commentary on her milestone choice. Her farewell transcends music charts. It becomes a shared cultural moment in which listeners reflect on their own life chapters alongside hers. Beyond the stage, Shania has activated a philanthropic blueprint that mirrors her personal journey. The Shania Twain Vocal Preservation Fund will offer grants for touring artists to access free vocal coaching, medical screenings, and emergency surgeries, directly addressing the nodules, strains, and injuries that once threatened her career. In tandem, she has announced a collaboration with the Born This Way Foundation to seed new music healing labs in underserved communities, blending songwriting workshops with mental health resources. A portion of every One More Time ticket funnels into these programs, ensuring that her final bow deepens her legacy of resilience and care. Industry executives note it as one of the most robust artist-led giving schemes in modern pop history. As she steps off the concert circuit, Shania plans to amplify her mentorship role through creative residencies and educational partnerships. At her ranch in Bahrain Bay, she will host annual songwriters' circles, inviting emerging talents to collaborate on demo tracks, hone their lyrical voices, and learn to navigate contract negotiations with confidence. She's also endowing the Twain Fellowship at Berklee College of Music, providing full scholarships for women pursuing songwriting and production careers. In doing so, she solidifies a multi-tiered support network, offering professional guidance that mirrors the exacting care she once demanded of herself in the studio and on tour. Her announcement has rippled into the business of live entertainment. Promoters are rewriting contract clauses to allow for age-based scheduling flexibility and mandated health rest periods, a direct response to the transparency around Shania's Vocal Preservation Fund. Insurance carriers have introduced masterclass touring plans, offering customized wellness packages for artists over 50, built on data derived from her own medical reviews. Technical teams developing stage automation systems now explore built-in vocal rest zones and real-time strain monitors, ensuring that no performer pushes beyond safe limits. Shania's exit strategy thus catalyzes a new era of sustainable touring innovation. Fans, too, are contributing to the farewell ritual in creative ways. Digital communities organize synchronized global watch-alongs for live-stream performances, broadcasting commentary and nostalgia-laced memoirs across time zones. YouTube creators release multi-part retrospectives comparing her stagecraft in 1995 to 2025, dissecting costume changes, choreography, and vocal technique. Flash mobs of tribute dancers appear outside arenas, learning her signature moves from TikTok tutorials and replicating them en masse before doors open. This participatory fervor transforms each One More Time show into a co-created event, where audience and artists share authorship of the moment. Yet as celebration crescendos, many observers recognize Shania's choice as a turning point for the industry at large. By structuring a farewell tour that prioritizes health, family, and legacy, she challenges the prevailing model of endless touring at all costs. Young stars now debate whether to follow suit, prompting a broader conversation about career arcs that balance ambition with well-being. Music festival lineups may soon become more dynamic, integrating farewell sets as featured attractions rather than relegating them to nostalgia slots. In this sense, Shania's final curtain call is not an end, but a pivot, one that will shape how artists, managers, and audiences envision the life cycle of creative vocations for decades to come. As the One More Time tour rollout accelerates, Shania's spotlight no longer falls solely on her past triumphs, but on the future she's building for artists and fans alike. In rehearsal studios, she's prototyping a mobile app called Soundwell, co-developed with vocal coaches and data scientists, to deliver personalized voice health assessments via smartphone. Users record short vocal exercises that the app analyzes for strain indicators, offering feedback on rest recommendations and warm-up routines. Shania has funded a pilot program distributing Soundwell to music schools in vulnerable communities, ensuring that young singers learn sustainable habits long before they face stadium-style demands. Launch dates for the app coincide with her final concert weekends, reinforcing the tour's theme of legacy and practical care. Meanwhile, design studios are crafting a commemorative coffee table book, headlined by Shania's own reflections and photographed by her longtime collaborator, Mary McCartney. Featuring behind-the-scenes stills from the original The Woman in Me sessions through today's rehearsal footage, the book doubles as a visual memoir and a manual on career stewardship. Chapters on vocal maintenance, mental health strategies, and the art of knowing when to say goodbye. Pre-orders include a deluxe edition casing that resembles a vintage airline case, complete with embossed initials and removable storyboard prints, paying homage to Shania's years on tour buses and iconic costume trunks. Backstage, the mood shifts each night from anticipation to a kind of ceremonial gravity. Crew members wear commemorative pins, Merlot-colored gemstones set in silver, that symbolize the last season of her touring life. Before the curtain rises, tour nurse Aisling Nguyen leads a quick, vocal confidence circle, where backup singers and dancers place a hand over their hearts and share one word they feel in the moment: proud, grateful, gleeful. Those ripples of intention circulate through the night, reminding everyone that this tour is not just a series of performances, but a collective farewell crafted with care. Shania's philanthropic committee is poised to expand her music healing labs internationally. Agreements are in place to open centers in Johannesburg, Dublin, and Sao Paulo, each co-managed with local nonprofits that merge songwriting therapy with community outreach. Plans call for graduate fellowships enabling music therapists to shadow Shania's team, learning how to integrate adaptive vocal exercises and ensemble workshops into trauma-informed care. These global hubs will host annual summits where practitioners exchange case studies and refine curricula, planting seeds from the manicured fields of Vegas backstage in underserved neighborhoods across continents. Fans contribute in surprising ways, too. A grassroots social media initiative, #ShaniaPromise, invites concertgoers to share photographs of themselves making personal pledges, be it vocal rest, setting boundaries, or tackling burnout, with their tickets. These promises appear on giant LED walls during intermissions, creating a mosaic of shared commitments. At select stops, local mental health professionals offer free mini consultations in pop-up booths near the merch stands, turning the venue into a hub of support and awareness rather than a one-way performance space. Critical acclaim for this integrated approach has been swift. Music business journals hail Shania's model as the blueprint for 21st century touring, praising her fusion of artistry, advocacy, and entrepreneurship. Industry conferences now include the Shania Session, panels dissecting her philanthropic infrastructure, tech investments, and sustainable touring protocols. Emerging artists stream recordings of these talks, debating how they might adopt scaled-down versions for regional circuits, mindful that even small tours carry vocal and mental health risks. In private moments, Shania grapples with the emotional gravity of her decision. At dawn, she often walks the grounds of her Nashville property, unzipping her leather jacket and leaning into the cool air as if inhaling every career milestone she's summoned into being. In her journal, she writes entries like, "Today I felt both relief and longing." How do you close a chapter that wrote so many lives? These reflections will comprise an epilogue to her memoir, to be released alongside the coffee table book, offering candid insight into the final days of touring life and the first stirrings of a new creative era. Her musical director Darren Savard notes that rehearsal 17 felt charged with poignancy. Shania sang "Any Man of Mine" with a hushed reverence, almost whispering the first verse before unleashing the chorus with familiar gusto. Those shifts, he says, weren't mere stylistic flair but echoes of a career's full arc, from aspiring newcomer to consummate showwoman now ready to pass the torch. In countless logistics meetings, she's asked not, "What do I want from this tour?" but "What do the next generations need from me?" A question shaping set lists, merch designs, philanthropic partnerships, and even the stage lighting palette, which transitions from warm amber to cool blues as the show progresses. Ultimately, this layered farewell transcends a typical concert series. It becomes a tangible ceremony, a living document of how one iconic artist can engineer her own sunset, embedding guidance, resources, and inspiration into every facet of departure. Fans don't merely witness Shania's final bow. they become active participants in a legacy project, invited to adopt her practices of self-care, community engagement, and creative reinvention. When the last note fades on that closing night, it will echo far beyond the arena, resonating in every student who downloads Soundwell, every writer who references her coffee table manual, and every artist who sees in her path a way to blend ambition with compassion. This is Shania Twain's swan song, and by design, it promises to reverberate for generations to come. As the final notes of One More Time reverberate through sold-out arenas, Shania steps into a new era, one defined by creative freedom, purposeful collaboration, and a legacy solidified by choice rather than circumstance. In the quiet days after the last show, she returns to her Nashville writing cabin, opening notebooks filled with half-finished lyrics and unrecorded melodies that never fit the demands of a touring life. Here, she plans to nurture these songs into an album of reflections, tentatively titled Echoes from the Road, exploring themes of homecoming, transformation, and the bittersweet art of letting go. Collaborators range from veteran session players to up-and-coming songwriters she met through the Berkeley Twain Fellowship, each track a bridge between her storied past and the next chapter waiting to be written. Meanwhile, her private life recedes into comforting routines she once sacrificed. Morning rides on her Tennessee farm, cello lessons shared with Aja, and family dinners at Frederick's farmhouse become as integral to her schedule as rehearsals once were. Close friends note a peaceful shift in her presence, the absence of tour adrenaline replaced by grounded stillness, as if she's rediscovered the joy of small moments after decades spent chasing stadium lights. That internal recalibration fuels her writing. Lyrics now glow with warmth rather than the adrenaline-fueled swagger of earlier hits, reflecting a woman who has forged resilience from vulnerability. Her philanthropic momentum builds, too. With the initial success of the Shania Twain Vocal Preservation Fund and Music Healing Labs, she announces a new initiative, the Shania Studio Project, converting and used Nashville warehouses into free rehearsal spaces for underserved young musicians. Each site includes vocal booths, instrument lending libraries, and mentorship walls plastered with quotes from her own journals. Rest is not retreat, it's preparation. The first studio opens in East Nashville this fall, co-branded with Soundwell Technology, and is already the subject of crowdfunding campaigns by local music collectives eager to pay homage to her model of accessible creativity. On the film front, a feature-length documentary, directed by Academy Award nominee Jane Campion, entitled Woman in Motion premieres at film festivals next year. It weaves archival footage of Shania's early promo shoots, behind-the-scenes clips from Mutt Lange sessions, and verite scenes of her preparing for this final tour. Campion's intimate lens captures moments like Shania half-reciting lyrics into a tape recorder while sipping coffee at dawn, or pausing mid-rehearsal to text a friend about the morning's unexpected downpour. The documentary promises unfiltered glimpses of the artist offstage, inviting fans and newcomers alike to see the person behind the powerhouse persona. In the broader industry, Shania's farewell prompts a recalibration of how music legends mark transitions. Billboard recently published a special commemorative issue, Shania's Swan Song, How to Exit with Dignity, featuring essays from managers, producers, and chart toppers reflecting on career and strategies. Spotify curates a Last Dance playlist, weaving Shania's final live recordings with other historic farewell performances, from the Beatles' rooftop concert to Sting's last Police reunion tour. This playlist becomes a viral sensation, driving streams of her catalog to new all-time highs as fans both nostalgic and new discover the emotional power of her closing act. Her legacy also shifts conversations about self-care and artistic vocations. In mentorship circles, she leads workshops on sustainable stardom, teaching emerging artists the vocabulary of wellness, how to negotiate tour rider clauses for therapy breaks, or insist on production schedules that allow for physical rest. These seminars, held online and in creative industry conferences, frequently sell out within hours, reflecting the demand for practical guidance in balancing ambition with health. Shania's mantra, "Your voice is your first instrument. Protect it," becomes a rallying cry echoed in breakout panels on wellness at South by Southwest and NAMM. Amid these developments, the public remains riveted by glimpses of her evolving journey. Social feeds light up when she teases snippets of her writing sessions, hand-drawn lyric drafts pinned to corkboards, guitar tuning clicks echoing through casual Instagram lives. Fans share reaction videos tagged hashtag echoes from the road, speculating on whether a newly revealed chorus will become her next single or a deeply personal album track. Each reveal stokes the FOMO spark, reminding audiences that while one form of performance has ended, the creative wellspring continues to flow. As she embarks on this quieter path, Shania's departure from touring does not signal a retreat, but a renaissance. She casts herself as both architect and beneficiary of a thoughtfully designed career apex, one that swaps the transient spotlight for enduring impact. Through new music, mentorship, philanthropy, and candid storytelling, she ensures that her influence extends far beyond the final curtain drop. In choosing when and how to say goodbye to touring, she models a blueprint for creative longevity, inviting every artist and fan to consider not just where a career begins, but how it thrives in its twilight and rebirth.